What is going on? Um, Today's video is going to be straightforward and to the point. Trying to adjust my audio a little bit more real quick. Okay, there we go. Today's video is going to be pretty short, straight to the point. So today we're going to talk about how to break the mutation counter and Ark Survival Ascended. If you've played Evolved, it's pretty much the same thing if you were a breeder. If you haven't, and if you're new and you're kind of wanting to get into breeding but you're not sure how, I'm going to kind of go through that process for you. I'm not going to explain the whole breeding process, but again, I'm just going to explain how to break the mutt counter, which you're going to need it if you plan on breeding. Essentially what it does is, right, is when you look at your dinos and you go to your ancestries, you see a mutation counter up on the top here, and in this example, in this Quetzal, it's 8 out of 20, right? So right now, obviously, this counter is not broke or anything of that matter, and in fact, the mutation counter is under 20, which means statistically, when this dinosaur breeds with this dinosaur, and let's check the mutations on this one. That one's 8 as well. The probability of a mutation to occur between these two is 7%, right? And that's good. That's what you want. You want the highest probability of a mutation to occur between these two. The time that this becomes an issue is if this number, this 8 out of 20, this 8 becomes larger than 20. And in that sense, for each parent that is over 20 mutations, it cuts that mutation by half. So if this female here that I have labeled F1, if that is over 20 and it breeds with this male that's under 20, the probability of a mutation to occur on the egg is like 3.5% versus your 7. And again, you want to have the highest probability you can. And that's where the breaking the mutation counter occurs, is when you keep breeding the dinos and having like a high level, and you keep breaking, like you keep going above 20, eventually when you get to like 2 billion, this counter right here, it breaks. It goes from positive to a negative number, and a negative number is essentially less than 20, which makes it, again, it's gonna like be under 20, so you're gonna get that full percent chance again. So when people talk about breaking the counter, that's what they're talking about. They're trying to get the number on a negative, okay? So essentially, kind of what you need to do, right, is to start breaking the counter. It's very straightforward. You just need to breed these two, right? You're gonna get an egg. You're gonna incubate that egg, and you're gonna hatch it. So I went ahead and did that. I already breeded those two, and I actually incubated it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab it. And as you see, it is a female baby, okay? So as mentioned earlier, if you paid attention, both of these are 8 out of 20, right? So when you breed those together, the mutation counts. Like they count up together, and it should give us 8 on both sides, or 16 total. And as you can see from the baby Quetzal here, it has 8 and 8, which means that this baby is now 16 mutations, right? So what we want to do is we want to raise this baby here. I'm going to go ahead and put some imprinted kibble in it to speed the process up. When this baby raises, what essentially you're going to do is you're going to take the first female out, which is F1. Since this is a baby female, you're going to take this out, right? You're not even going to use that anymore. That's obsolete. You're going to wait till this raises. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and name this to F2 because this is my second female from breaking this counter, right? So then I am going to take this, throw this out here, and now I'm going to breed this female with this male. And again, we're going to have another egg that you know, pops out, whatever. And now I gotta go find, well, I'll go throw that egg out in a minute, but essentially is you use these two, right? And say if you go to incubate that egg and that egg turns out to be a baby male, you raise that and you call that M2, and you pretty much pod this up and you don't use M1 anymore. You're gonna throw it and let it breed with F2. Now if the female, well, if the egg turns out to be a female again, you just raise it and you call that F3, you take out F2, you throw F3 in here and you breed it with M1. And you keep rotating it out, and eventually what happens is the numbers exponentially rises, because again, as we mentioned, F1 had 8 on the counter, right? F2 now has 16. So when this new baby comes out, this new baby should be 24 mutations, whether it is a female or a male. And again, right now it doesn't look like it's a lot of progression, but you know, 100s are going to turn into thousands really quickly. Thousands is going to turn into 10,000, and so on, until you know you get to that 2 billion, and then it's going to break. And then essentially at that point, you just take the negative, you know, counter, and you crossbreed it over to what male you're working with on what line you're doing it with, and yeah, you're back to your 7% chance with breeding. So that's pretty much to it. It's straightforward. You just keep flipping out whatever the baby is, flip it out with whatever the gender of the parent is, and that's how you get that number up. So yeah, that's pretty much to it. If you guys have any other like requests or questions in regards to breeding, I'll make some other short videos about it, since breeding can be very complex at times. So yeah, pretty straightforward, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day.